The Lagos chapter rather of the #EndBadGovernance movement is calling on the Nigerian Police and other security agencies to rescue kidnapped Afenifere youth leader Eniola Ojajuni. The group is questioning the effectiveness of various identity registration programs like the BVN and national ID cards in aiding security agencies. They express concern that the kidnappers may kill Ojajuni, given the deadline for the ransom has passed. This incident is part of a broader trend of rising crime rates in Nigeria, which the group attributes to harsh economic policies imposed by the current administration. Right now, to discuss this, we're joined by a member of the Organizing Committee, #EndBadGovernance movement in Lagos State, Taiwo Hassan, Soweto. Thank you so much, Taiwo Hassan, for joining us.
A pleasure, thank you.
Now, Taiwo, the deadline for the ransom has reportedly passed as we know it, and Eniola's family must be on edge as we speak. What would you suggest as a solution on this matter?
Yeah, to be honest, I mean, the family must be in a very, very terrible shape now, but not just the family, the friends, but even the rest of us, members of the public, because the ordeal of this gentleman speaks to all of us as well, because it means that this can happen to just any one of us. And that is why we had to issue that statement to link, this situation to the very, very terrible condition, of existence that exists in the country, and the fact that the current government and security agencies do not seem to act as if they are interested. What needs to be done clearly is for us to have a security, agency that can immediately, swing into action to protect the lives of Nigerians anywhere they find themselves in this kind of situation. But unfortunately, that is not what we have. The Nigerian police is only effective at suppressing civil liberties, at arresting minor criminals on the street, harassing motorists, for bribes on the road, and making lives hell for the rest of us Nigerians. When it comes to things like this, you don't see them actually responding. And it's really very, very sad. We have to continue to clamor and demand that Prince Eniola Ojajuni must be returned back safely. And to say that the responsibility, for his ordeal right now lies on the shoulders of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who up to now has not even made a public comment on the ordeal of this gentleman.
Now, Taiwo, you have been vocal about the link between economic policies and rising crime rates, and you've even come under fire for it. How does Eniola's kidnapping fit into this narrative? What do you think the government should be doing differently to prevent these kinds of incidents?
I mean, of course, if you look at the statistics, you would see that, right from 2023, crime rate in Nigeria has grown exponentially. And that is because, when a society is on the brink with starvation everywhere on the street, it means that a lot of people who otherwise, will concentrate on honest endeavors will begin to move, into criminality in order to try to find a way to survive. That does not mean that even when society is okay, that some people will not be criminals. What we are saying, however, is that when you have harsh economic policies that pushes people to the point of starvation, then you create the basis for even more and more people, to go into criminality. And that is what is happening right now. Don't forget that when kidnapping started in this country, the targets were usually expatriates and just people who are very rich who could afford to pay huge ransom. But right now, and that will tell you that the social makeup of kidnappers has also changed. Right now, just anybody, including civil servants, including teachers, can be picked up, and then their families are told to cover out huge sums of money. That is how much criminality has penetrated, and kidnapping has become a thriving business. Obviously, the police and security agencies have to take actions, but it goes beyond a law and order response alone. If you don't begin to address the root cause of criminality, then there's no way you are going to be able to deal with it effectively. And that is why we have to use this occasion again to call on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to begin to reverse all those policies, anti-poor policies of fuel subsidy removal and increase in fuel price, as well as the inflationary increase in all services and goods in the market, including food and all of that, in order to begin to ensure that, the lives of the people begins to have some meaning. That there must be increase in income and wages, for workers and employees in private companies. We also must see actions, on the economic terrain in terms of a reduction in electricity prices, as well as, to ensure that you have a pro-people economic program that can begin to ensure that Nigerians begin to see value in their lives. Without these kind of economic measures, alongside with ensuring that we have an economy that runs for the interest of the mass majority, instead of the greed of a few, then there's no way we are not going to continue to see this kind of criminality that we see in the country and the kinds of ordeal, that Prince Eniola Ojajuni is sadly going through now.
Okay, so also we know that with all of these situations and happenstances, the people have now lost trust in the government and even the security agencies. And in terms of policy and security apparatus, what do you think the immediate actions of the president should be, the president's administration? How can we restore public confidence in their ability to handle such crises? Most of the times, we blame these things on the lack of technological advancement. But even when we have these devices, we still can't use it effectively to rescue these people. What can be done?
The first thing is for us to have a government that sees, the protection of the lives and properties of Nigerians, as a responsibility, as a core responsibility. Right now, we do not have it. Right now, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a president who prefers to meet, with foreign investors, with IMF and World Bank, with economic, agencies and groups that are interested in despoiling Nigeria's national economy, instead of ensuring that our economy works for the interest of all. That is what our president is interested in. And that is why, for instance, he has not publicly even spoken about the ordeal of Prince Eniola Ojajuni. Because, for instance, if the president makes a national address, and then direct the security agencies to ensure that he is found, to ensure that they deploy all of the tools at their behest to find him, then you are going to see actions taking place. But the fact that the president and other members of the National Assembly are not even talking about this also means that they themselves do not care. And that's why the security agencies themselves are not doing anything. Because really, it's not as if you don't have the capacity among the security agencies. We have seen on occasions when members of the rural elite have found themselves in this kind of situation, how the security agencies are moved in a concerted manner to ensure that something is done. Why this is happening is because they just don't care. They prefer to use this technology that lies in their hands, to tap, the phones and the devices of activists to carry out illegal surveillance of, critique of the government, and of course, to just suppress, civil liberties. Instead of using this, to begin to address, the security in the country. And because over the past few years, just how many identity registrations Nigerians have done. We have done BVN, we have done the NIN, we have done all kinds of registrations. And the justifications of government on each occasion was that all of these identity registrations were needed in order to ensure that all Nigerians have their biometric record, so that when issues like this occur, it is easier to be able to track and trace. Why are they not doing that right now? Those are the questions that we're asking. So ultimately, what we need really is to have a new kind of government in Nigeria that recognizes the lives, and interests of Nigerian people as paramount. That government is only possible on the basis of us having in place a workers and people's government that uses the resources of this country to meet with the needs of all. Right now, that does not exist. Those in power are just interested in running the country according to the interest of themselves and their friends, among the elite.
Okay.
That is why we're in the mess that we are in right now. So that ultimately, we need a complete overhaul of Nigerian society to be able to prevent the reoccurrence of this kind of tragedy.
Okay, Taiwo Hassan, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your thoughts on this very important discourse.